On Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, the Catholic world bid farewell to Pope Francis, who passed away at the age of 88. His death marked the end of a transformative era for the Church. In the wake of his passing, the College of Cardinals convened and, after a swift two-day conclave, elected Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago as the 267th Pope, now known as Pope Leo XIV. Pope Leo XIV's inaugural Mass on May 18, 2025, drew an estimated 250,000 faithful to St. Peter's Square, including global leaders and dignitaries such as U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and royalty from across Europe. The ceremony was marked by a poignant moment when Pope Leo XIV embraced his brother, a gesture that resonated worldwide and symbolized the personal touch he brings to the papacy. As the first American pope, Leo XIV's ascent signifies a new chapter in the Church's history. His call for unity and dialogue echoes the challenges and hopes of a global Catholic community seeking direction in uncertain times. In this video, we will explore the lives and legacies of the 10 pontiffs who preceded Pope Leo XIV, tracing the path that led to this historic moment. From the early 20th century to the present day, we'll examine how each pope navigated the complexities of their time, shaping the Church's journey through the decades. Join us as we delve into this compelling narrative of faith, leadership, and transformation within the Catholic Church. 1. Pope Pius X, born Giuseppe Sarto, led the Catholic Church from 1903 until his death in 1914. His papacy was marked by a profound commitment to spiritual renewal and a staunch defense of traditional Catholic doctrine during a period of significant societal change. Liturgical reforms and sacred music. One of Pius X's most notable contributions was his reform of sacred music. In 1903, he issued the Motu Proprio tra le Sollecitudini, which emphasized the importance of Gregorian chant and classical polyphony in liturgical settings. He criticized the incorporation of secular musical styles into church services, advocating for music that upheld the sanctity and solemnity of the Mass. This directive aimed to restore a sense of reverence and active participation among the faithful during worship. Promotion of frequent communion. Pius X encouraged the laity to receive Holy Communion more frequently, even daily, a practice that had become less common. He believed that regular reception of the Eucharist was essential for spiritual growth and fortitude. This emphasis on frequent communion was a significant shift in pastoral practice, aiming to deepen the personal piety of Catholics. Codification of canon law. Recognizing the need for a unified legal framework within the Church, Pius X initiated the codification of canon law. This monumental task culminated in the 1917 Code of Canon Law, promulgated shortly after his death, providing a comprehensive legal structure for the governance of the Church. Combating modernism. Pius X was a vigorous opponent of modernism, a movement he viewed as a threat to the integrity of Catholic doctrine. In 1907, he issued the encyclical Pascendi Dominici Gregis, condemning modernist interpretations of theology and scripture. To safeguard against these influences, he mandated the oath against modernism in 1910, requiring clergy and theologians to affirm their adherence to traditional church teachings. Pope Pius X's papacy was characterized by a resolute effort to reinforce the spiritual foundations of the Catholic Church. His reforms in liturgy, emphasis on frequent communion, codification of canon law, and opposition to modernism left an enduring legacy, shaping the direction of the Church in the 20th century and beyond. 2. Pope Benedict XV, born Giacomo della Chiesa, ascended to the papacy on September 3, 1914, mere weeks after the outbreak of World War I. His tenure, lasting until January 22, 1922, was profoundly shaped by the global conflict, during which he emerged as a steadfast advocate for peace and humanitarian aid. A voice for peace amidst global conflict. From the onset of his papacy, Benedict XV condemned the war, referring to it as the suicide of civilized Europe. In his first encyclical, Ad Beatissimi Apostolorum, issued on November 1, 1914, he implored world leaders to cease hostilities and restore peace. Despite his appeals, the warring nations largely ignored his calls, viewing them through the lens of their own national interests. Undeterred, Benedict XV continued his peace efforts. On August 1, 1917, he presented a comprehensive 7-point peace proposal, advocating for measures such as disarmament, the establishment of an international arbitration body, and the restoration of occupied territories. While some nations responded favorably, major powers like Germany and the Allied forces dismissed the plan, unwilling to compromise on their war aims. Humanitarian initiatives and the Office for Prisoners. Recognizing the immense human suffering caused by the war, Benedict XV launched extensive humanitarian efforts. In December 1914, he established the Vatican's Office for Prisoners, which facilitated communication between prisoners of war and their families, assisted in locating missing persons, and coordinated the repatriation of the wounded. By the war's end, the office had managed over 600,000 pieces of correspondence, underscoring the Pope's commitment to alleviating wartime hardships. Post-war efforts and legacy. Following the armistice, Benedict XV continued to advocate for a just and lasting peace. In his 1918 encyclical Quod Im Deo, he urged Catholics worldwide to pray for the success of the upcoming peace negotiations, emphasizing the need for divine guidance in shaping a stable post-war order. Despite facing criticism and limited success in his diplomatic endeavors, Benedict XV's unwavering commitment to peace and humanitarianism left an indelible mark on the papacy. His efforts not only elevated the Vatican's role in international affairs but also set a precedent for future popes to engage actively in global peace initiatives. Quick pause before we continue. Welcome to Sacred Pulse Times, where faith meets truth and timeless stories come alive. If you're passionate about Christian history, inspiring lives, and spiritual insight, you're in the right place. Tap that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a heartbeat from the global Christian community. Let's keep growing together in faith and knowledge. 3. Pope Pius XI, born Achille Ratti, led the Catholic Church from 1922 until his death in 1939, a period marked by significant political upheaval and the rise of totalitarian regimes. His 17-year papacy was characterized by a steadfast commitment to upholding the Church's moral authority amid the challenges posed by fascism, communism, and secularism. Defining the Vatican's sovereignty, the Lateran Treaty. One of Pius XI's most consequential achievements was the resolution of the Roman question, a dispute that had persisted since the unification of Italy in the 19th century. On February 11, 1929, the Holy See and the Kingdom of Italy signed the Lateran Treaty, which recognized Vatican City as an independent sovereign state under the Pope's authority. This agreement not only restored the Pope's temporal independence but also established the Vatican's unique status in international relations, allowing the Church to operate free from political interference. Condemnation of totalitarian ideologies. Pius XI was a vocal critic of the totalitarian ideologies that gained prominence during his papacy. In his 1931 encyclical Non abbiamo bisogno, he condemned Italian fascism's pagan worship of the state and its attempts to suppress Catholic action groups. He further addressed the dangers of Nazism in the 1937 encyclical Mit brennender Sorge, written in German and clandestinely distributed in Germany, which criticized the regime's breaches of the 1933 Reichskonkordat and its promotion of racial ideologies. In the same year, Pius XI issued Divini Redemptoris, an encyclical that denounced atheistic communism as a system that subverts the social order and undermines human dignity. He highlighted the persecution of Christians in the Soviet Union, Spain, and Mexico, and called for a global response to the threats posed by communist ideologies. Advancement of Catholic social teaching. Building upon the foundations laid by Pope Leo XIII Rerum Novarum, Pius XI released Quadragesimo Anno in 1931, marking the 40th anniversary of the earlier encyclical. In this document, he addressed the ethical implications of the social and economic order, critiqued both unrestrained capitalism and socialism, and emphasized the principles of solidarity and subsidiarity as cornerstones for a just society. Pope Pius XI's papacy was a defining period for the Catholic Church, as he navigated the complexities of a world increasingly dominated by authoritarian regimes. His unwavering commitment to the Church's independence, denunciation of oppressive ideologies, and contributions to social doctrine solidified his legacy as a pontiff who courageously upheld the moral teachings of the Church in the face of adversity. 4. Pope Pius XII, born Eugenio Pacelli, led the Catholic Church from 1939 to 1958, a period encompassing World War II and its aftermath. His papacy is marked by efforts to maintain Vatican neutrality, provide humanitarian aid, and navigate the complex moral challenges posed by the war and the Holocaust. Neutrality and humanitarian efforts. At the onset of World War II, Pius XII adopted a stance of neutrality, aiming to position the Vatican as a potential mediator for peace. This neutrality was intended to allow the Church to operate across conflicting nations and to protect Catholics in Axis-controlled regions. Despite this public neutrality, Pius XII engaged in various humanitarian initiatives. He established the Pontificia Commission di Assistenza in 1944 to provide direct aid to war victims, refugees, and prisoners throughout Europe. Additionally, the Vatican facilitated the hiding of Jews in religious institutions, including monasteries and convents, and provided false documentation to help them escape persecution. Controversy surrounding the Holocaust. Pius XII's role during the Holocaust has been a subject of intense historical debate. Critics argue that his public silence and lack of explicit condemnation of Nazi atrocities amounted to a moral failure. They point to his reluctance to speak out forcefully against the genocide of Jews, suggesting that his actions were insufficient in the face of such crimes. Supporters contend that Pius XII worked behind the scenes to save Jewish lives, fearing that overt denunciations could lead to harsher reprisals against both Jews and Catholics. They highlight instances where the Church provided shelter and assistance to Jews, and note that Pius XII received reports detailing Nazi atrocities, which informed his cautious approach. Legacy and ongoing debate. The legacy of Pope Pius XII remains complex. While he took significant steps to provide humanitarian aid and maintain the Church's operations during a tumultuous period, his actions, or lack thereof, regarding the Holocaust continue to prompt scrutiny and discussion. The opening of Vatican archives has provided new insights, yet the debate over his papacy's moral implications persists, reflecting the enduring challenges of leadership during times of profound crisis. 5. Pope John XXIII, born Angelo Giuseppe Roncalli, led the Catholic Church from 1958 until his death in 1963. Despite his brief 5-year papacy, he initiated transformative changes that profoundly impacted the Church's relationship with the modern world. Convocation of the Second Vatican Council. Recognizing the need for the Church to engage more effectively with contemporary society, Pope John XXIII convened the Second Vatican Council, Vatican II, in 1962. He articulated the purpose of the Council as an aggiornamento, or updating, of the Church to better address the spiritual needs of the faithful in a rapidly changing world. In his opening address, Gaudet Mater Ecclesia, he emphasized a pastoral approach, focusing on mercy and understanding over condemnation. Vatican II produced 16 documents that addressed various aspects of church life, including liturgy, ecumenism, and the role of the laity. Promotion of ecumenism and interfaith dialogue. Pope John XXIII was a strong advocate for Christian unity and interfaith dialogue. He established the Secretariat for Promoting Christian Unity, the first Vatican department dedicated to ecumenical efforts. He also extended invitations to non-Catholic observers, including representatives from Orthodox, Protestant, and other Christian communities, to attend Vatican II, fostering a spirit of openness and collaboration. Encyclicals addressing social issues. During his pontificate, Pope John XXIII issued several significant encyclicals. Mater it Magistra, 1961, addressed the Church's role in social progress, emphasizing the need for social justice and the rights of workers. Pacem in Terris, 1963, his final encyclical, was groundbreaking in its appeal to all people of goodwill, not just Catholics. It outlined a vision for global peace based on truth, justice, charity, and liberty, and addressed issues such as human rights, disarmament, and the role of the United Nations. Legacy. Known affectionately as the Good Pope, John XXII's warmth and approachability endeared him to many. His efforts to modernize the Church and promote dialogue laid the groundwork for ongoing reforms and set a precedent for future engagement with the broader world. He was canonized in 2014, and his legacy continues to influence the Church's mission in the contemporary era. 6. Pope Paul VI, born Giovanni Battista Montini, led the Catholic Church from 1963 to 1978, a period marked by profound transformation and challenges. His 15-year pontificate was pivotal in steering the Church through the implementation of the Second Vatican Council's reforms, addressing complex moral issues, and engaging with the modern world. Implementing Vatican II reforms. Succeeding Pope John XXIII, Paul VI took on the monumental task of bringing the Second Vatican Council's vision to fruition. He oversaw the promulgation of key documents that redefined the Church's liturgy, governance, and engagement with contemporary society. Notably, he sanctioned the use of vernacular languages in the Mass, replacing Latin to make the liturgy more accessible to the faithful. This shift aimed to foster active participation and deeper understanding among congregants. Liturgical and structural reforms. Beyond liturgical changes, Paul VI initiated significant structural reforms within the Church's hierarchy. He restructured the Roman Curia to enhance efficiency and responsiveness, establishing new departments to address contemporary issues and promote dialogue with other faiths and secular institutions. His efforts aimed to align the Church's administrative functions with the pastoral needs highlighted by Vatican II. Humanae Vitae and moral teachings. In 1968, Paul VI issued the encyclical Humanae Vitae, reaffirming the Church's stance against artificial contraception. This document emphasized the sanctity of human life and the procreative purpose of marriage, asserting that each marital act must remain open to the transmission of life. The encyclical sparked widespread debate, with many laity and theologians expressing dissent, arguing for a more nuanced understanding of human sexuality in light of modern challenges. Global outreach and ecumenism. Paul VI was the first pope to travel extensively, visiting 6 continents to promote peace, dialogue, and unity. His historic meeting with Orthodox Patriarch Athenagoras I in 1964 marked a significant step toward healing the schism between the Eastern and Western churches. Additionally, his address to the United Nations in 1965 underscored the Church's commitment to global peace and human rights. Legacy. Pope Paul VI's pontificate was characterized by a delicate balance between tradition and progress. He navigated the Church through a period of significant change, striving to uphold doctrinal integrity while engaging with the complexities of the modern world. His efforts laid the groundwork for ongoing discussions on the Church's role in contemporary society, and he was canonized as a saint in 2018, recognizing his enduring impact on Catholicism. Pope John Paul I, born Albino Luciani, served as the head of the Catholic Church for a mere 33 days in 1978, yet his brief papacy left an indelible mark on the faithful and the institution he led. Known affectionately as the Smiling Pope, his warmth, humility, and pastoral approach endeared him to millions worldwide. A humble beginning and pastoral heart. Luciani hailed from a modest background in the Veneto region of Italy. His early life was characterized by simplicity and a deep commitment to pastoral care. Ordained in 1935, he served as a seminary professor and later as the Bishop of Vittorio Veneto. His participation in the Second Vatican Council, 1962 to 1965, reflected his support for the Church's engagement with the modern world. In 1973, he was appointed Patriarch of Venice, further solidifying his reputation as a compassionate and approachable leader. A papacy marked by simplicity and reform. Upon his election on August 26, 1978, Luciani chose the name John Paul I, honoring his immediate predecessors, John XXIII and Paul VI. This unprecedented dual homage signified his intent to continue their efforts in modernizing the Church. Rejecting the traditional papal coronation, he opted for a simpler inauguration ceremony, emphasizing his commitment to humility and service. His papal motto, Humilitas, humility, encapsulated his approach to leadership. John Paul I's communication style was notably direct and relatable. He often employed anecdotes and references to everyday life, making theological concepts accessible to the average believer. His approachable demeanor and genuine concern for the marginalized resonated deeply with the laity, clergy, and global observers alike. A sudden and mysterious passing. Tragically, Pope John Paul I's tenure was cut short when he died unexpectedly on September 28, 1978. The suddenness of his death, coupled with initial inconsistencies in the Vatican's reporting, fueled speculation and conspiracy theories regarding the circumstances. Despite these controversies, subsequent investigations and medical reports concluded that he died of a heart attack. Enduring legacy and path to sainthood. Despite his brief time as Pope, John Paul I's legacy endures. His emphasis on humility, pastoral care, and simplicity influenced his successors and continues to inspire the faithful. In recognition of his virtuous life and impact, Pope Francis beatified him on September 4, 2022, bringing him one step closer to sainthood. Pope John Paul I's 33-day papacy serves as a poignant reminder that the depth of one's impact is not measured by the length of service but by the authenticity of one's commitment to faith, humility, and love. 8. Pope John Paul II, born Karol Józef Wojtyla in Wadowice, Poland, served as the head of the Catholic Church from 1978 until his death in 2005. His 27-year papacy was the second longest in modern history and marked by profound influence on both the Church and global affairs. Champion of human rights and dignity. A steadfast advocate for human rights, John Paul II emphasized the intrinsic dignity of every person. He addressed issues such as abortion, euthanasia, and capital punishment, underscoring the sanctity of life. His encyclicals, including Evangelium Vitae, articulated a vision of a culture that respects life at all stages. He also spoke out against materialism and consumerism, warning of their corrosive effects on human values. Global outreach and interfaith dialogue. John Paul II was one of the most traveled world leaders, visiting 129 countries during his pontificate. He sought to bridge divides between different faiths, becoming the first pope to visit a synagogue and a mosque. His efforts in interfaith dialogue aimed to foster mutual understanding and peace among diverse religious communities. Legacy and canonization. John Paul II's influence extended beyond his lifetime. He was canonized as a saint in 2014, recognized for his deep spirituality, commitment to human dignity, and role in shaping the modern Church. His teachings continue to inspire Catholics and others worldwide, emphasizing the importance of faith, reason, and compassion in addressing contemporary challenges. 9. Pope Benedict XVI, born Joseph Ratzinger, led the Catholic Church from 2005 to 2013. His papacy was marked by a commitment to traditional doctrine, scholarly depth, and a historic resignation that reshaped the modern papacy. A theologian at the helm. Prior to his election, Ratzinger was a prominent theologian and served as prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. As Pope, he emphasized a return to traditional Catholic teachings, addressing challenges posed by secularism and relativism. His encyclicals, such as Deus Caritas Estate and Caritas in Veritate, explored the relationship between faith, love, and social justice. Liturgical reforms and traditionalism. Benedict XVI sought to reconcile with traditionalist factions within the Church. In 2007, he issued the Summorum Pontificum, allowing broader use of the Tridentine Mass, aiming to bridge gaps between modern and traditional liturgical practices. Addressing Church scandals. His tenure faced the challenge of addressing the Church's sexual abuse crisis. Benedict XVI took steps to confront these issues, including the removal of abusive clergy and meeting with victims, signaling a commitment to accountability and healing. Historic resignation. In a move unprecedented in modern times, Benedict XVI resigned in 2013, citing declining health and the demands of the papacy. He was the first pope to resign since Gregory XII in 1415, setting a new precedent for future pontiffs. Legacy. Pope Benedict XVI's papacy was characterized by intellectual rigor, a dedication to tradition, and a humility that culminated in his resignation. His contributions continue to influence theological discourse and the Church's approach to contemporary issues. 10. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, served as the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church from March 13, 2013, until his death on April 21, 2025. He was the first Jesuit, the first Latin American, and the first non-European pope in over a millennium. A papacy rooted in humility and reform. From the outset, Pope Francis emphasized humility and a pastoral approach. He chose to reside in the Casa Santa Marta guest house rather than the traditional papal apartments, signaling a break from opulence. His papal motto, Miserando atque legendo, by having mercy and by choosing, encapsulated his focus on compassion and service. Advocate for the marginalized. Francis consistently championed the rights of the poor, migrants, and refugees. He called for a poor church for the poor and urged global action against economic inequality. His 2015 encyclical, Laudato Si', addressed environmental concerns, linking care for the planet with social justice. Promoter of interfaith dialogue. Understanding the importance of interreligious harmony, Francis engaged in dialogues with leaders of various faiths. He made historic visits to the Middle East, including the first papal visit to the Arabian Peninsula, fostering mutual respect and understanding among different religious communities. Synodality and church reform. Pope Francis introduced the concept of synodality, promoting a more inclusive and participatory church governance. He convened synods to address contemporary issues, encouraging open discussions among bishops and laypeople alike. His efforts aimed to make the church more responsive to the needs of its members. Final years and legacy. In his later years, Francis faced health challenges, including a stroke and cardiac arrest, leading to his death on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, at the age of 88. His passing marked the end of a transformative era for the Catholic Church. Pope Francis's legacy is characterized by his unwavering commitment to humility, social justice, environmental stewardship, and interfaith dialogue. His papacy left an indelible mark on the Church, guiding it toward a more compassionate and inclusive future. As we reflect on the 10 pontificates spanning from 1903 to 2025, culminating with the passing of Pope Francis, we witness a tapestry of leadership that has guided the Catholic Church through immense societal, political, and spiritual transformations. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit and Latin American pope, served from 2013 until his death on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025. His papacy was marked by a profound emphasis on humility, social justice, and environmental stewardship. He championed the marginalized, advocated for the poor, and called for urgent action on climate change through his encyclicals Laudato Si' and Laudate Deum. His commitment to interfaith dialogue and efforts to make the Church more inclusive left an indelible mark on the global Catholic community. The transition to Pope Leo XIV, the first US-born pontiff, signifies a new chapter in the Church's history. His inauguration has been met with optimism, particularly regarding renewed interreligious dialogue and a focus on contemporary global issues. This lineage of popes reflects a dynamic continuum of faith, adapting to the challenges of each era while upholding the core tenets of Catholicism. As the Church moves forward under new leadership, the legacies of these pontiffs continue to inspire and guide the faithful worldwide.